How did you become a neo-Nazi?
It was gradual. I think everything began when my brother was shot by an African American when I was a young kid. I was introduced to a local skinhead crew. I would drive by here and think of ways, how could we like blow this place up? I went to a national leader of a white racialist organization and looked him up in the phone book, went to his neighborhood, and next thing you know, I'm sitting in his parlor talking politics. And he told me the exact opposite of what I was getting at home. I was being told I was a drunk, I was a loser. He told me that I had leadership qualities, that I was intelligent, that they needed warriors like me. We were an army.
For Timothy Zoll, the streets of Los Angeles were a war zone.
I started to insulate myself with these people and the thought process and the propaganda and the delusional sort of mindset. And anybody who didn't think like me was the enemy. I was involved with paramilitary training, guns, stockpiling weapons, incendiary devices, and the more propaganda I consumed, the more my social network became insulated, the harder it was to view the world with a clear mind.
Zoll gives us a tour of the Museum of Tolerance, where he now gives speeches about the life of hate he left behind. It's a place he once viewed as a hub for his enemies.
The conspiracy theory was Museum of Tolerance was some part of some massive Jewish cabal or something that sits around a table thinking of ways to destroy the white race.
The violent white supremacist rally in Charlottesville brought him back to the dark days of his youth.
It brought me back to propaganda films that I've seen of Ku Klux Klan killing communists in Greensboro. I mean, I had sleepless nights. At the time that I was involved was when they were telling us, grow your hair out, don't get tattoos, join the military, go to university, get a corporate job, embed yourself into society. They've switched their game, and it's a dangerous game.
The Museum of Tolerance has a diorama on me being a hate monger and
So we are going to meet William Johnson. He's an attorney and has been involved in white nationalist politics for decades. Hi, are you Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Hi, thanks for taking the time to meet with us.
I'm a lawyer. I went to Harvard Law School and Columbia Law School. I'm a nationalist. I've been head of the American Freedom Party, which is a nationalist political party, for maybe 10 years, I guess. I was a strong early supporter of Donald Trump and still am a strong supporter of Donald Trump.
Johnson created controversy last year when he sent robocalls to voters in Vermont and other states.
I am William Johnson, a farmer and white nationalist. The white race is dying out in America and Europe because we are afraid to be called racist. Donald Trump is not a racist, but Donald Trump is not afraid. Don't vote for a Cuban, vote for Donald Trump.
The robocalls, I think, were very effective. It got a lot of people to sit up and take notice. And I think that in my small way, I helped Donald Trump in his campaign. He was refreshing from the beginning because he was not a bought and paid for politician. So I jumped on board early on, and I'm very pleased that I did. The American Freedom Party is opposed to globalism and is opposed to multiculturalism and diversity. And I personally want a white ethno-state because Europe is being overtaken by other peoples and the founding stock is disappearing.
So you had just described your ideal United States, a white ethno-state. Are you a racist?
I didn't say that my ideal of America is a white ethno-state, and I'm not a racist. I do think that there needs to be, and there will be, some sort of homogenous society for white people.
Have you seen a surge or an increase in people joining your party?
Yes, very much so.
Since when?
Since probably Donald Trump's declaration for presidency.
The Southern Poverty Law Center describes Johnson as an uninspiring but determined white separatist. And actually, he agrees.
I think that's true. And I think that there's going to be someone that's going to come on that is both determined and inspiring. And so the generation after me will take the mantle, and then they'll move forward with it. And I think it'll grow, and I think that we will have a future.
I think what's going on this year is kind of an extension of what went on online.
Rick Eaton has been tracking digital hate for decades. He says this year has been a turning point.
The promise that the internet held going back to the early days in 1995 when these sites first came online, that promise is now being realized. It wasn't early on, but now with social networking, that has had an immense effect on the recruiting. And what we always feared going back 22 years is now coming to pass.
White nationalist symbols and rhetoric have evolved to seem less sinister.
This was the logo that they used at Charlottesville. And they used it on their shields, they used it on their big banner. That's the Odin rune, a god of strength and symbol of strength and so forth. So even though they're Nazis and it's the National Socialist movement, they're trying to soften that image. James Alex Fields, the guy who ran over Heather Heyer, marched with the Vanguard America group, which is a relatively new group. This is another effect of this alt-right. You know, the white polo shirts. Again, they're trying to distance themselves from this open racism. What's happened is that they are going to other sites which don't have the same restrictions. So we're seeing people go to Gab, we're seeing people go to VK.com. VK.com is the number 20 site in the world for traffic, and most Americans have no clue what it is.
It's a Russian website.
It's like a Russian version of Facebook.
There's a lot of people partaking on this hateful chatter online. Who are they?
Young people are able to navigate around the net. They're also people that are susceptible to the message that immigrants are coming into the country. Immigrants are going to take away your jobs.
In this day and time of anarchy, in this day and time of thieves and thugs and drug lords.
Organizers for this pro-Trump rally said people from all backgrounds were welcome, and many here were your everyday enthusiastic Trump supporter. But it wasn't hard to find language and symbols with subtle and not so subtle nods to white nationalism.
We are all sons and daughters of Western culture and Western civilization, and we are all united by God. Let's hear it. The West is the best, ladies and gentlemen. The West is the best. The West is the best.
This symbol, it's two meat cleavers. Can you tell us about the symbolism of your shield?
Yeah, that came from a nativist group back in the 1800s. They believe in preserving traditional American ideals as well.
Talking to us, Joshua Long speaks about inclusion. But the Anti-Defamation League says the American Guard is steeped in hardcore white supremacy.
Symbolism that is America, and if they try to take it over and we have to make a new American flag after we win, that's what it'll be. It'll be half Confederate, half the United States.
This rallier says he was at Charlottesville, not to participate, but to keep the peace.
I think right now, until we get our government fixed, we need to stop all immigration.
We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. On many sides.
It's a numbers game. If you, for example, what we used to say back in the olden days when we used to pass out literature and sometimes get punched in the face for doing it, if you hand out 10 pamphlets and you get one, it's worth it. Because all it takes is one. Planting that seed, all it takes is one. And with cyberspace, you could reach millions of people.